Hello again. I'm going to do a second humility story from the Lakota way. This one is about Iktomi, the Trickster. It's a spider being. Reminds me a little bit, if you're familiar with Anansi from Western Africa. One of the better sort of known instances of him is Neil Gaiman has him as a character in his American God book, and he's played brilliantly by Orlando Jones in the television show American Gods. But he's a trickster, and I, I personally rather like him. Iktomi was hungry as usual. In fact, he couldn't remember when he had last eaten. So without a solid plan in mind, he set about to feed himself. Circumstances were not favorable for a quick meal, however, since Iktomi was not a good hunter. As a matter of fact, he was the worst hunter around. He was not proficient with weapons, and he was very slow of foot. Strangely, though, he was confident because he knew he was one of the trickiest beings to walk the earth. He came upon a trail and followed it. One never knew where such trails could lead, but of one thing he was certain: chances were it would lead to opportunity. And opportunity was the key to Iktomi's survival. He gained the crest of hill, and as he started down, he saw someone coming up the hill. It was Mato, the bear. Iktomi hid immediately. Except for Tatanka, the bison, Mato was the most powerful creature on four legs. One swipe of his paw could send skinny little Iktomi into the next world, and it was a place Iktomi was not anxious to go. From the middle of a plum thicket, Iktomi watched as Mato lumbered up the hill. Iktomi suddenly realized that he was sitting in the middle of ripe plums, a favorite food for Mato. He was on the verge of panic and about to run for his very life when he saw that Mato was covered with scars from many old wounds. An idea formed in his opportunistic little brain. Leaving the thicket, he went back down the trail and began to whistle as he walked. Mato took immediate notice, of course, but because of his poor eyesight he had to wait to see what was making such a cheerful noise. "It's you," he growled as Iktomi stopped. "Get out of my way. I have to find food to fatten up for the winter. Go away unless you want me to eat you." Iktomi's knees were knocking and his heart was pounding, but he had a plan, and it wouldn't work if Mato saw that he was terrified. "Greetings, brother Mato," Iktomi called out in his loudest, bravest voice he could muster. "It's good to see you, but you must step aside because I am in a hurry." Mato was astonished. He had never known anyone to face him. All the two-leggeds ran away at his approach. Now this skinny little being was telling him to step aside. "I hope you taste much better than you look," Mato said. "Don't say I didn't warn you. Beings much more powerful than you tremble at the sight of me." "Oh, this is true," replied Iktomi. "But you don't know how powerful I truly am." "The only thing powerful about you is your odor," roared Mato, so incensed at Iktomi's arrogance that he rose on his hind legs. There are few sights more frightening than Mato, on his hind legs, rising to a height equal to 4 of Iktomi's, whose insides were turning to mush. It was much too late to run, because the only thing on the prairie that could outrun Mato was Tatanka. Iktomi gathered all his courage, which he never had in abundance, and stood his ground. "I am much more powerful than you," he retorted, "and unless you are too afraid, I can prove it to you." Mato crashed to the earth, doubled up in laughter. His loud guffaws rolled across the hills as he howled with laughter until the tears ran from his beady little eyes. When he could laugh no longer, he sat up and stared at Iktomi, who, of course, was the very image of confidence. "There is no one more powerful than me," said Mato. "Therefore I'm afraid of nothing, not even you." At that he rolled over with laughter once again. "So," he giggled, Prove to me how powerful you are." "I will," said Iktomi, "but I will give you first chance. For not only am I powerful, I am also fair." Mato giggled all the more. "What must I do?" "I know you have been wounded many, many times, and you are still alive." "Yes," admitted Mato, "I have been wounded many times by two-leggeds, so I have many arrowheads and lance points in my body." "Exactly," shouted Iktomi. "But so do I. And much more than you. Still, I will give you a chance. You must cough up all the arrowheads and lance points in your body, and I will do the same, and we shall see who has more." Mato couldn't stop giggling. "Very well," he said. "I will, but it hardly seems worth the trouble. I could just eat you and be done with it." "Then we need to make a wager," Iktomi said. "If you win, I will show you a creek where the fish are so plentiful you can catch them with your eyes closed. What's more, you can eat me, too. If I win, you must provide me with food for a month." "You probably are stringy and would be tough to eat, but you have a wager nonetheless," decided Mato. "I'll go first." So saying, he jumped to his feet, rose to his hind legs, and began to pound his chest, and then coughed and coughed until he began to spit up arrowheads and lance points. Of course, Iktomi knew he would have to. Mato closed his eyes as he gagged and coughed, and as the objects flying out of him were beginning to form a large pile, Iktomi sprang into action. As quickly as Mato coughed up the arrowheads and lance points, he swallowed them. When Mato finally finished, he sat back down. He looked at the pile in front of him. It was rather small. "Now you," he said, not the least bit worried. He knew Iktomi's puny little body couldn't possibly have more than one or two arrowheads. Iktomi raised himself as tall as he could stand, pounded on his chest, and began to cough and cough. Soon one arrowhead came out, then another, then a lance point. In front of the astonished Mato, Iktomi's pile grew and grew, higher and higher. It was hard to believe that Iktomi could have been wounded so many times, but there it was, a pile of arrowheads and lance points much larger than Mato's. If Mato was dim-witted, he was also honorable, so he yielded, though he kept mumbling to himself in astonishment. And true to his word, he supplied Iktomi with berries and fish for an entire month. Story of Iktomi and Mato, illustrating humility. Thank you.